everyone. This is Alma coming to you from Long Beach, California. Today is Friday, July 1st of the year 2022, and this is a special edition of my FlossTube videos. Today I'll be doing my WIP parade that I usually do every 6 months or so, not just for your enjoyment, but also so that I can get an idea of where I stand, what WIPs need more work, which WIPs are close to being finished, and I usually take that into consideration to make my plans for the rest of the year. So as always, I want to welcome you all. Welcome back to all my current viewers and subscribers, and thank you so much for your continuing support. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And if this is your first time visiting, then welcome. I think you picked a good time to stop by and check in for the first time, since today you'll be seeing everything that I currently have in the works. So it's a good reckoning of whether or not you'll like the channel. So I do hope that you like what you see, you find a reason to stay, subscribe, and continue to follow me on my stitching journey. As usual, I'll go ahead and show these WIPs in chronological order. I did decide to go ahead and show all of the WIPs. If you see my regular FlossTube videos, I've mentioned a couple of times that I wasn't sure how I was going to go about filming this video, since I've been focusing on pretty much one WIP for the last few months, which means that I've only really worked on like a quarter of my WIPs. So I said, if I do a WIP parade, then it's going to be a lot of, oh, here's the WIP, no change, and moving on. So I wasn't sure if that was worth doing, but in the end I decided to go ahead and do it, because it'll be easier for me when it comes time to film the WIP parade at the end of the year. Because at that point, if I were to just show the ones that I have worked on, I would have to go back and check, okay, did I show this in the last WIP parade, or did I show this in the one from December? Anyway, all of that being said, I will go ahead and show them all. I also wanted to do a quick disclaimer. My boyfriend is working right now. He's on a conference call, so I'm hoping that by using the iPhone mic, it'll help in making sure that it doesn't pick up too much of his talking. But if you do hear him mumbling in the background, that's what that is. Anyway, I do have all of these to show today. So without further ado, let's get to the stitching, shall we? And first up is my oldest WIP. This is Mini 1, which is a Heaven and Earth Designs chart. Artwork is by Cindy Nielsen. And I started this in August 30th, 2018. So again, my oldest WIP so far, or thus far. I've only added 1,000 stitches to it since the last time I showed it to you. At the beginning of the year, me and some friends set up a challenge for ourselves and said, okay, we're all gonna touch all of our WIPs and, add X amount of stitches on them. So some people went for 500, 250, everybody chose their own goal. I went for 1,000. So that's pretty much all that this one has gotten so far, 1,000 stitches. I'm currently sitting at 28,200 stitches. So not too much of a change since the last time. Those 1,000 stitches were all pretty much on the water, the dark colors of the ocean here. So the plan is to go ahead and finish this section of the water just like I did here, and then I'll go ahead and go back and finish up the rest of her hair. I'm trying to leave that for last, since it's a little bit more confetti than the water itself. So here she is. I'm already considering slash kind of set on making this a focus piece for next year so that it does get finished. As it is, I'm not 100% sold on her. Like, I don't necessarily feel the urge to stitch on her, but she is my oldest WIP, so she will get some work done within the next year or so. Next up is a chart that I got from Etsy. It's a shop called Stitch Fairy Treasures, and I'm just opening up my notebook. I have my notebook where I have all the information about each WIP. Oh, which I forgot to tell you, Mini One is stitched on an Easy Guide 18 count Aida that I got from the Hade website. It's the first and probably only time that I'll be getting a material pack from the website. It was just a little bit, at the time I didn't know about kitting up individual patterns because it was the first time that I've worked with a pattern like that. But now that I know that it's a little bit more efficient slash cheaper to just kit it up myself. So that's what that fabric was. Next up is again a pattern by Stitch Fairy Treasures on Etsy. This is Sleeping Beauty / Princess Aurora, and I started this on January 6th of 2019. And for this one, there hasn't really been much change. I'm still sitting at 7 pages finished out of 12. And some of those are partial pages, like these, that only have a little bit of stitches on them. I may just go ahead and do a partial page instead of going for, because I did, as you can see, I kind of did start the next page on the design, but I don't know, I may just go for another partial page just for the sake of saying, okay, I finished a page, and it not being too harmful. This one is stitched on 18 count Aida, white Aida. This is my go-to fabric for a lot of my full coverage pieces, so you'll hear me say that a lot. If I forget to say it, odds are it is 18 count Aida. And the next pattern that I started is a kit by Relentless, and this fell, of course. This is Lilac Evening, which this was actually a present from my twin. She gave it to me for, I think it was our birthday at 1 year. She let me pick it. She says, hey, I want to give you, a cross stitch kit, but I want to make sure that you like it, so you can go ahead and pick it. So I picked this one because I thought it was beautiful. I loved the hat, and it has beading in it. So this is, I don't know if you can tell in the product image, but the hat and, yeah, well, not the hat, but the lace around the hat has a lot of beads, and the flowers are all ribbons. So this one I am doing on all the, I'm using all the materials that the kit came with, including the 14 count beige Zweigart Aida that the kit supplied. So I think I've added maybe 200 stitches since the last time I showed it to you. Not much change to show. But this is on my radar. This one and one of my memorabilia pieces are on my radar for the pretty ladies that I want to get finished. I haven't finished one yet, and I would like to do that, if not this year, next year. So, and I've named her Hannah. So sometimes instead of calling it Lilac Evening, I'll say Hannah, because I think that was the name. So it's based off a painting, and I feel like that's the name of the painting or something like that. The next piece I have to show you is another one of the designs that I found on Etsy. This one is called Stitchery Stitch, and it's Yeah, the Etsy shop is called Stitchery Stitch. It's called Watercolor Floral. And I started this on May 1st of 2019. And this one, just like the Princess Aurora pattern, neither of these is Pattern Keeper compatible. So I have to, if I stitch it, you know, I had to print out the pattern myself. And a lot of the symbols and a lot of the colors are similar. So that's also why I've been struggling to work on these two. I don't know what I'm doing. But this is where I'm at, which again, no change. I'm stitching this on 18 count white Aida, following all the called for DMC colors that that the pattern asks for. So again, I may go for a partial page this year so that I can at least say I finished one more page in the pattern, because some of them, you know, like this, I think this part right here was the page itself. It was a really, really small page. So I may just see if I can find up another partial page along the edges and just call it a day. So that, you know, progress can be done, but it doesn't have to be too much stitching, since again, clearly not too enthused to be working on this one. I have FlossTube itchy nose, and it started as soon as I started filming. So I apologize. I'll try not to give in too often. The next WIP that I have to show you is another one of my Hades. This is called Moon Charmer. Technically, it's Moon Charmer Select a Size, and that's when somebody requests that an original chart be adapted to a certain dimension. I just picked this one because it was smaller than the original, but bigger than the mini. I think there is a mini, so I went for this one instead. The artist is Amy Stewart, and charted by Heather Nerd Designs. I started this on May 20th of 2019. It was another one of my mania starts that year, and I really liked it. She gives off, you know, kind of like an elven look. I always thought she was an elf or some sort of fantasy creature, and me and my boyfriend both love fantasy, just anything, video games, movies, TV shows. So that's also why I like the design. And this is where I'm at. Boop. I am sitting at 20% finished, which is the equivalent of 49,310 stitches. Since the last time I showed this to you, I did 2,900 stitches. This will be my next focus piece. I've decided this will be my next focus piece. Well, I have decided that's false information. One of my friends, Vic, from Stitching Button, and I were talking back and forth. She was the one that picked out my next focus piece. So, but I had to approve it. So, so she will get more progress done. The stitching that I did this year was all pretty much done on this section over here. I originally was going to keep going with the trees, but I got tired of not only did I get tired of doing the black and the dark green, but I've also reached the point where it's going to become the grass. So I didn't want to deal with that section yet. So I thought, okay, I'll go back to the sky, finish, and then just work my way to the bottom. So I added all these pretty purples, these pretty blues and purples, and those are going to be stars eventually. I haven't stitched them in, but they are more stars. And this little corner that you see right here, that's the beginning of the moon. That's the very tip of the moon. So that's going to be coming in as well, which is exciting. So you'll get to see her more often now. So I'm excited. And this one is again stitched on 18 count white Aida. hopefully by the end of the year, well, I don't know. I was going to say I would like to hit, you know, the halfway mark, but that's just me just spewing out numbers, not knowing how much stitching that actually is, because as it is, you know, 50,000 stitches is just 20%. So that would be, well, yeah, it would be more than 100,000 stitches, question mark. It's gonna be a lot of stitching, point being. The next piece I have to show you is one that I also found on Etsy. This is Flowers of the Alphabet by Lemonada on Etsy. And I started this on the 20th of October of 2019. This one I'm doing it a little bit differently. I am doing my own thing. I'm doing it on a different colored fabric. I'm using colors to destash, so any colors that were left over from other projects, I'm using it for this one. And I'm stuck on this one, to be honest. This is where I'm at, and it's the same place I was at the last WIP parade. I feel like the last time I worked on this was probably a year ago, and I have no, I'm not inspired to stitch on this at all right now. So I don't know. I don't usually UFO pieces. I feel like I've only done that maybe like 3 times in my entire stitching career. But I don't know. This one's just, I like the idea. You know, I really like the idea, the concept, and the colors, or you know, the idea of like destashing a lot of my threads. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Next piece I have to show you is a pattern by Tilton Crafts, and the artist is Daniel Kordek. This is Wonder Woman Warrior Princess, and I started her on November 1st of 2019. I really like his designs. If it's your first time stopping by, you'll see a lot of similar charts to this one. I really like his artwork, but I've yet to finish any of them. So this is where she's at. I haven't picked her up yet this year, so she's still sitting at 17,787 stitches right now. This is the beginning of her hair, so she is going to start to come in. But I messed up. I miscounted somewhere in this section, and I feel like that's also why I'm not too thrilled to come back to stitch on her. If anything, that's why I started stitching over here again, because I thought I'll just leave that for later and just work on another section. But still, I know that that's something that I have to fix, and I just don't feel like getting around to it just yet. But I do want to finish her. I am on the verge of finishing my first Haid, spoiler alert. So I'm thinking, okay, well, if I finished a Haid, I should finish a Tilton Crafts next, which would be nice. And again, 18 count Aida, white Aida, using the called for DMC for that one. Next up is another one you'll see in a row. They're coming at you in a row. Another one of my Tilton Crafts charts based on Daniel Kordek's artwork. This is Esmeralda, which of course is the character from Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame, my all-time favorite Disney film. And back when deviant art was a thing, which I think it still is, but it was like huge, maybe like 10 years ago, if not more. I remember finding this artwork and falling in love with it. And then I discovered that Tilton Crafts had it, so when I saw it, I thought, I have to have it. And again, this one hasn't really received much love. I'm still sitting at 16,100 stitches. This is where we're at. And this corner, this section right here, is the beginnings of the tambourine. So we're gonna start to have the picture come in again, just like with Wonder Woman. I can finally get around to the image, and if I want, I can stop working on the background for a little bit. But it is a little bit slow going. I started her on November 6th, and again, I'm using 18 count white Aida for this. So pretty much around the same place as Wonder Woman. Nothing too exciting, but I do love working on it. I love all those vibrant colors, all those reds and the golds. They're really fun. Next up is another one of my Tilton Crafts charts. It is Snow Girl, also based on the artwork by Daniel Kordick. And this one I started on the 23rd of November 2019, so I started them all back to back. This one I used for a challenge back in 2020 with Full Coverage Fanatics, where we had to work on a piece and stitch 20,000 stitches in the year 2020. Since then, they've done one for each year, so 21,000 stitches in 2021 and 22 in 22. So this is where we're at with her. Again, not much since then. This one is at 21,000 stitches, so I feel like I must have just done that challenge and called it a day. But I do want to get back to this one. I do love the pop of color that the chart uses with the reds against the grays and the blues for the background. So I do want to get back to this. And hopefully this one will get at least 1,000 stitches this year. Because again, I kind of did that challenge for myself. So this is going to get at least a little bit of love. The next chart that I started almost, yeah. I started this on the 26th, so Snow Girl was on the 23rd. This is on the 26th. This is another one of my hates. This is June. Artwork is by Anna Dittman. And this one I started in honor of Sakia's birthday. Sakia is Lady Wing Designs here on FlossTube. She loves yellow, and this has a lot of yellow and green tones as well. So this one hasn't gotten too much love. I feel like I only added maybe 100 stitches, if that. Yeah, there's still pretty much sitting at the same place as before. And this edge right here is the edge of the petal. So at least that's going to be coming in soon. But yeah, not much change to show, unfortunately. These last few months have just been dominated by one WIP in particular, which is coming up shortly. But now that I'm almost close to finishing it, I can get a move on and start working on other things. The next one I have to show you is one that I started in January of 2020, January 17th of 2020. This is my Disney Villain Ladies from Zana Cross Stitch. I had originally started this with the intention of doing one panel per year, but that's not going to happen, unfortunately. I started this when Magical Stitches was doing a Disney villain year. So I thought it would be cool to stitch along with the books. And as you can see, I was working on this one. I was trying to get to my 1,000 stitches. I'm at 400 stitches, so almost there. But you can see the Evil Queen is still, or is already finished, and I'm starting on Ursula. So the last time I showed this to you, I think I had maybe pretty much like this top done. So the 400 stitches have been pretty much along her chin, filling in those, because there's a few different shades of purple in there. So this is where they're at. Again, 18 count white Ada. So hopefully I can get this 1,000 stitches finished, and who knows, maybe keep going on her until I finish the panel. The next piece that I started on February 1st of 2020. This is Stacked Teacups, which is a dimensions pattern. It's a petite gold collection pattern. The artist is Susan Wingett, and this one, this is one of like maybe like 2 or 3 of the gold collection that I have. So this one got a lot of attention, and I managed to finish it a couple of weeks ago. So the last time I showed this to you, I was at like this top. I think I had just done the beige, the background color of the teacup here, and the pink colors of the teacup here. And then I think I had done about this much of the background and the bird. So everything else has all been done this year. I picked this up for my daily 30 prompt at one point, and I just thought, oh, I'll just keep going, especially for these hard the paper patterns that I have. They're a little bit harder to work on because they're not on Pattern Keeper, so it's a little bit slower to go on. So the daily 30 prompt is a good way to get progress on those, because I don't have to necessarily count stitches. I'm just counting the time. So yeah, so that's one finish for 2022. I hope to have more finishes this year, but at least that's one taken care of. This year, I do want to focus more on making progress on my other full coverage pieces. Last year was the year of finishes, was No New Starts 2021. So since I think I finished 12 pieces. Yeah, because it was, on average, it was one a month. This year, I would like to just focus on progress, not necessarily finishes. And this was done on the 18 count Ada that came with the kit, and I used the floss from the kit as well. So, yay for a finish. The next piece I started on Leap Day 2020, so February 29th, 2020. This is Change of Seasons 2, which is a pattern from Mystic Stitch. And again, I started this along with Zakia, Lady Wing Designs. We both started this with the hopes of finishing it by the next, or not next, but in 2 leap days, so 2028. So we'll see if we get that finished. I still have hopes of getting that goal done. This is where I'm at so far, which I got the idea. I originally just started it, in the top left corner, as I normally start my full coverage pieces. Oops. But I then got the idea to work on this, work on each season as we're going through each season. So when winter time came around, I started working on winter, and then springtime came around. That's when I started on spring, which is this bottom half right here. But I don't know, I just kind of got a little tired of the piece and stopped working on it then. But yeah, I pretty much reached the edge on this side as well. I focused a lot on the tree because there's a lot of confetti. There was a lot of confetti in that section. And then I just started moving my way down to the spring section. Last time I showed this to you, it was at 15,500 stitches, and I'm now at 23,639. So about 8,100 stitches since the last time that I showed it to you. And by that I mean the last WIP parade. That's how I normally say that. So hopefully we'll get more work done as well. We shall have to see. The next piece that I started is a piece by a fellow FlossTuber here on FlossTube, Yanni Stitcher. She has a couple of designs available for purchase, and I'm pretty sure I have both of them at this point, but this is Katrina. This is her Katrina design. I started this on May 14th of 2020, and I'm doing it closer to how the model was stitched. The chart, if you buy the PDF, then you'll see that it's charted to be stitched on white, but this one you can tell, well, I don't know, maybe it's just my imagination, but I feel like it's stitched on a beige-ish fabric, and then the face paint is white. So I liked that idea better. Unfortunately, I haven't worked on this one. I messed up. I miscounted somewhere on this side of the face, and I've yet to fix it. And on top of that, I also noticed that some of the floss got stained, so I see some yellow in there. So I have to frog some stitches, and I feel like I may just frog here, but work over here. So do a little bit of frogging at a time, but meanwhile work over here. But I actually did try to work on this, but I miscounted. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. It's probably too hard to tell, but I had to frog up here as well. So overall, this piece was just all over the place, but I did want to work on this one, especially now that September's coming around for Mexican Independence Day. And I'm using again the 14 count kind of beige Ada that I had in my stash. I honestly don't know where I got that one from. And next up is what has been my focus for the last few months. It's my Heaven and Earth Designs Mini Midnight Stroll by Julie Fain. I'm stitching this for my goddaughter, which is also why I wanted to finish it as soon as possible. I started this on May 21st of the year 2020, and I am 1,100 stitches away from a finish. This is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. The last time I showed this to you, I was at 36,431, and I'm now sitting at 75,000 something. Actually, it's closer to 76. I don't know, just remember doing the math and saying that I only had 1,100 stitches to go. So this is going to be a finish within the next couple of days, and I'm very, very excited. Because again, this has just been the one focus piece for the last few months. A lot of purples, a lot of pinks, so I feel like I'll be done with purples for a while after this. But it's beautiful. I am so happy with how this is turning out. This was one of the pieces that was affected by the the issues with the new colors, the 29, and there were other colors that were charted a little funky. By the time that Michelle got around to fixing, or sending the replacement charts for those patterns, it was too late for me. But I think it looks okay. I think it looks fine. So yeah, so finish coming soon. Stay tuned. And of course, down on 18 count Ada. Actually, I'm gonna leave that to the side because that's gonna be the piece I'm gonna work on after I finish filming. So the next piece I'm gonna show you is another one of my Dimensions kits. This is Mason Jar Lineup, and I started this on May 22nd of the year 2020. This was actually kind of hard to find for a while. A lot of people were grabbing it, so when I finally found it, I made sure that I bought it. In this one, I am using all the materials that came with the kit, including the 14 count Ada. And this is what we're at so far. See if I can get that out of the way. There we go. Last time I showed this to you, I had just started on the white flowers. So everything else you see here is what I've done this year. I did do the 1000 stitches for this WIP. So that's why you see, the glass jar and the stems and the leaves coming in. I hope to continue working on this, especially because it's actually easy to work on once you get in the groove of it. But first of all, I'll make sure that I get the 1000 stitches done on everything else. Because yeah, like this is the full piece. So obviously there's quite a few more jars to do. But yeah, I'm happy with how it's coming out. I'm happy with the colors. Needle Minder by Stitch and Button. I thought it was funny. The next piece that I started on May 24th of the year 2020. This is Sea Glass by Carolyn Manning. A lot of people started one of her pieces for the Manic Manning style of 2020, and I'm still working on mine. Apparently, a lot of people already finished, but it's okay. This will be a finish. This is definitely going to be a finish this year because a few friends and I have we all picked one project and we divided it into 12 sections. So we do one section a month, and so in theory we'll have a finish by the end of the year. And this is the piece that I chose for that. So I'm a little behind because again, Midnight Stroll took up all of my time, but it's okay. I can catch up now that I'm practically done with that one. But this is where we're at. The last time I showed it to you, I was at 5,196 stitches, and I'm now at 12,848. So again, it is getting steady progress, and it will be a finish by the end of the year. So hopefully by the time I finish. Hopefully by the time I film my end of the year WIP parade, I can show you one more finish. So I don't know if I'll be able to show you the Midnight Stroll as a finish, since it is going to be a gift. I'll have to see. Worst case scenario, I'm just watch the next FlossTube regular FlossTube update, because I will definitely have the piece finished. I may just film a quick little video saying, look at it, it's finished, look how pretty, and maybe just clip it onto the next WIP parade. We'll have to see. The next piece I have to show you, I don't have the cover picture for it, but I did start on Relentless from Ink Circles. I started it on June 2nd for 2020. Lots of people, you know, in our Pride Month, many of us do start slash work on Pride themed WIPs, and unfortunately I haven't gotten too much done on this besides the 1000 stitches that I'm trying to do. I do want to keep working on it though, and at least do all of the black first and finish all that black. I am going to give it to a friend of mine, but you know, I have to finish it first, so luckily he's not too worried about it. In fact, I don't know if he even remembers that I said I would stitch it for him. But there it is. And that's done in a, I always forget. So I don't know if you can tell, but it's slightly, it is hand dyed. It's a silk weave fabric. I don't know where I got it from. I don't, because I didn't buy it myself, so I don't know if somebody gave it to me. I'm not sure where it came from, and I don't know the name of it either. I just know that it's 18 count silk weaver. But okay, so now I'm done talking about that piece. And next up is another one of my hates. This is Mini Soaring Free 2. It's one of the more popular designs. I always see people working on this one. The artwork is by Joan Marie. And I started this in honor of my best friend. I started this on June 13th, 2020. And for this one, this is one of the first times that I started experimenting with 25 count easy guide fly guard. So this is where we're at. There's no change. I haven't really added many stitches on this one, unfortunately. So I'm still stuck on this corner. But this is where we're at. So again, hopefully this will get at least 1000 stitches done on this. This one, yeah, this was done on a, well, technically, because I bought the 25 count for another project, so this was just done on like a scrappy piece of fabric that I had left over. So yeah, I do like the piece though. I love the colors and I love the design, so I hope to get it finished sooner rather than later. And the next WIP that I started was June 24th, 2020, and it's called July. Another design by Anna Dittman. So again, the companion piece to June. She's got a bunch of these. She's got a whole series, obviously, you know, for each month of the year. I don't know if they're all charted through Haid, but I know that the series is complete on at least Anna Dittman's website. And again, lots of purples, lots of pinks. There's a theme. And I'm doing this on 18 count Aida again. This one I started on the top right corner, kind of trying to experiment with different ways of stitching. And this is what I have so far. I did work on this a little bit. The last time I showed this to you, it was at 3,347 stitches. And I'm now sitting at 4,406. So about 1,100 stitches done since the last time I showed this to you. Because again, trying to do at least 1,000 stitches per WIP. So this is where she's at. And I think I am going to pause it here. That's about halfway. A little bit less than halfway done with my WIPs. But I did want to go ahead and split it up into 2 videos. So thank you for joining me this time around. Feel free to take a break if you need one. I'll certainly understand. And I'll post all the information about the WIPs down below. there's not enough space for me to list each individual pattern, so but that's why I try to always at least mention the name of the piece and the artist, for websites like Heaven Earth Designs and Children Crafts, so that you have the means to go find the pattern yourself. So having said that, again, thank you again, and I'll see you for part 2. Ciao!